Hello world, it is Monday, February 19th, 2024, and looking out the window at Defiance, it's a kind of trying to be a nice day. It's cold, it was in the mid-teens Fahrenheit, but mix of sun and clouds, and I think it's going to be a mix of sun and clouds all day today, but warmer, highs in the low 40s. The devotion for today is entitled Hungering for God, written by Liz Miller. Liz bases the devotion upon 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 7, New Revised Standard Version. The angel of the Lord came and said, "Get up and eat, or the journey will be too much for you." And then Liz writes, flour and honey, butter and cheese. Bible stories overflow with rich images of food, cooking up a message that feeding our bodies leads to spiritual nourishment. Whether it's receiving cakes baked by an angel of God like Elijah does, or Jesus gathering his followers together for supper, sacred stories evoke images of faithful, hungry people receiving the sustenance they crave. Reading stories of communal feasts is one thing, but practicing it in our own lives is more complicated. How many of us struggle with our relationship to food, having internalized cultural messages of restricting our intake as the path to piousness? For others, allergies or specialized diets create barriers to breaking bread with hosts who have limits to what they are able or willing to include all people. But then again, perhaps these same complications make the connections between physical and spiritual nourishment even more timely. How many of us struggle with our relationship to God, having internalized cultural messages about what a spiritual practice must be restricted to? How often do we hear of people being shut out of houses of worship because of who they love or what they look like, barred by church leaders who have limits to the ways they are able or willing to include all people? The message Elijah receives is clear. You need to eat, or the journey will be too much for you. To find our way to the strength of a fed body and a nourished spirit, we are called to prepare tables that accommodate and feed all bodies. We are called to cast aside rotten messages of shame and eat up God's provisions of love. And Liz's prayer. Give us this day our daily bread, and may we savor every bite. Amen. A couple images that came to my mind as I was reading this devotional is one that to sustain life, whether it's a spiritual life or a physical life, we need sustenance. We need to continually feed ourselves. And what that looks like for you for spiritual needs may be completely different than me. It doesn't negate it or make it any less or any more. But it's simply what brings you nourishment. The important thing is that you nourish your body and your soul in whatever way that helps you. And the other thing that came to mind as I was reading this is how important it is for our actions to present opportunities for others to be fed, whether it's spiritual or even physically. I was also thinking along the lines of we can also eat too much. We can overindulge in physical food or spiritual food and overwhelm ourselves and become something that we were not intended to become. There's a healthy balance, I think, that needs to be found. But a big part of it is just paying attention to our bodies, to our psyche, to our soul, and knowing when we need to feed it, when we need to exercise it, and when we need to rest. Anyway, those are my thoughts for today. Yours might be different. That's the nature of devotionals. Hope you have a good day. Hope you can enjoy some of the sunshine, and hope to talk to you again soon.